Well, hey, welcome back to Tempting Fate Tours. It's the end of day one, and it was a long day of driving. Google Maps told us we covered 353 miles. We didn't actually know because the speedometer in the Riley hasn't worked since the transmission transplant. We only had one little issue, and we also committed a crime, but I'll get to that in a minute. We arrived last night after dark at the Sheraton Boston Needham Business Garden Suites and Hotel Room Inn. I parked the Prius, I got 46 miles a gallon, and just had time to check out a few competitors in the parking structure. And then I heard the mellifluous tones of a 65-year-old Riley with an engine transplant. And that meant Tom had arrived. We checked into the hotel, we went to our rooms, fell over and went to sleep, because the next day's start was, theoretically, 7 a.m. It's kind of a split-screen day. Poor old Scott was up even earlier at 4 a.m. to make a plane, to get home, to get his MGB, to get on the road, to get to Maine. He got home about 1, and he had 6 hours of solid hammering on the MassPike, and if you live in the Northeast, you know what that means. On the start of day one proper, we got there about 7 a.m.-ish, maybe, sorta.
Day one.
For what was theoretically scrutinized.
A little bit anxious because the MGB is still a relatively new car to me.
In this case, basically,
I'm already 4 hours behind the rest of the group. Going to try to play catch up. This is going to be a highway cannonball run between 6 and 8 hours from my home in Western Mass to Bangor, Maine. A little bit anxious.
Very rusty Edsel.
Worried about running the engine at the revs that it's going to for that long.
A 67 Valiant with some perplexing art on it. There was a 96 BMW convertible with period-appropriate pastel colors on it.
I think I'm more anxious about other people on the road. The rest of the traffic generally doesn't pay attention to something as small as an MGB.
I think in the background that noise you heard was someone sliding across the hood of a Volvo with limited amounts of success.
There was a JDM right-hand drive Mazda Bongo minivan.
And I was not aware how small an MGB was until I had purchased one. It's kind of like riding a four-wheel motorcycle in modern traffic.
The 58 Riley was not the oldest car. There was actually a lovely black 55 Ford Custom. We set out, and we immediately changed our minds on what we were going to do and not do.
Unlike rush hour traffic in a 65-year-old car.
We had planned to avoid the center of Boston, except it turned out City Hall was kind of on the way. Tom interpreted the Star Wars part. This is Emperor Palpatine's summer home. Not necessarily the most beautiful building, but it's a lovely picture of the Riley outside. Less than an hour after we left the start line, we had our first episode of #RileyDown. We'd stopped at a quiet neighborhood gas station to fill up. Did I mention the gas gauge didn't work? Pulled out, and just as we turned onto a side street, the car simply died. And all Tom said was, I didn't figure it'd happen this quick. Then his riding mechanic role took over, and it turned out the British car goddesses were with us. Well, the wires fell off the back of the ignition switch, and it fired right up, onwards to the orange dinosaur. Counting Boston City Hall, we managed to tick off 4 of the checkpoints. We had the Jingle Bells Tavern, where reputedly Jingle Bells was written in Medford, Mass., although of course it's disputed. There was an orange dinosaur in Saugus. There was a historic plaque for where the first town meeting was in Middleton, and met the Mazda Bongo folks there. They gave us candy. And then it was time to commit a crime. According to the program, it was the Lemons Rally patented feat of dumbness, trademark, patent pending. It is a crime to have tomatoes in your clam chowder in Massachusetts. I don't know what the penalties are. I'm not sure if it's a felony, but I have this image of the bottom level of Boston City Hall full of miserable people who had red stuff in their chowder. We thought we would be really clever. We bought a can of clam chowder, the white kind, and some cherry tomatoes. Lest you think, ew, gross, like cold soup, we heated it on the manifold, okay? Tom found this very difficult, being from closer to Massachusetts. I'm fine, I eat both kinds, I go both ways. Most of the video has been destroyed, but we have photos. Oh well. The next 5 checkpoints included a ruined hermit's castle in Methuen.
No, it's over here.
That's what I meant.
No, I mean over
A scenic vista when we crossed into New Hampshire. The Center Lovell Market in Center Lovell, Maine. A really nice ghost sign in Rumford, Maine. And the Skowhegan Drive-In in, wait for it, Skowhegan, Maine. By the way, it's for sale. And after that, we just hammered down to the very end. Which is the Coal Land Transportation Museum in, I had thought it was Bangor, but no, I'm from not there. It's just pronounced Bangor, Point Maine. The museum itself is kind of cool. It has cars. It has trucks.
The actual coal field truck are pretty darn awesome. Diesel loads. Got John in the background.
It has trains.
EMD locomotive. It's pretty fantastic.
It has sleds. And my favorite part was actually Maine 100 years ago had some very large, seriously primitive snowplows. During our museum visit, we'd stayed in touch with Scott, who had just about reached Bangor.
About 70 miles to go. Both headlights are on.
He met us at our hotel, at Bangor Grand. We all checked in, and the 3 of us hot-footed it to their bar restaurant before the kitchen closed. We had some nice local brews, some deep-fried food, and then just collapsed. As a famous lady once said, tomorrow is another day.